What's up everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be installing a rack in the garage for this rooftop tent right here. Now if you know my roommate Zach, which most of you do, that's his tent, those are his bed bars, but lucky for me, it fits on both of our trucks. I just need to find a way to switch it between the two trucks safely so it doesn't end up like this. I know, really not the safest way to switch a tent between trucks. So let's take this, assemble it, and put it up here on the ceiling so we can switch this tent between our trucks. Let's get started. Okay, so the two bars right here are gonna be the ones that mount to the ceiling, and then this bar right here with the cables attached to it, that spins with this mechanism right there, and that would normally lift the rack up after you put stuff on it, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave the rack off. I'm gonna use the two bars right here, I'm gonna leave those bare. That way we can put those underneath the tent right here, and it'll just lift up to the ceiling. We can pull the truck out, bring another truck back in, and then lower it back down and put the tent onto a different Tacoma. Okay, so the way these mount up, they need to be about 48 inches apart. And I kind of need someone to hold it while I mount it, so I'm enlisting the help of Zach again. He's gonna hold this while I drill him into the studs. Because this rack is gonna be holding like a 200-pound tent, we want it to be as secure as possible. So when you're mounting these up, the way that they're supposed to be mounted is parallel with the beams. So that's how you should mount it. Okay, so out of the box, this little mechanism right here, which is what turns the wires up, that's separated from this black piece. So you've got the black piece in the center. That mounts in with just 4 screws, 4 Allen head screws. And then you have the cross beams that go across here, and those mount in with just 2 little screws on each side. And then, like I said, the way you're gonna wanna mount this is parallel with the beams, like we've done here. Because if you try to do it this way, it's not gonna match up right. It matches up weird and it's not as secure. On this end you have a cotter pin at the very end, that's keeping that side in. On this end there is a screw that screws in with a washer right there, and then there's 2 screws in the center that hold that in place. Next, what you have to do is you have to take the cables, these guys, and you have to run them through the circular points on the mount. So from the top it's going to go from the point it mounts in on the sides, run down the center of it, and then go through the wheel area right there. So normally at this point what you do is you would put the bolts through the rack, but because we're not going to be using the rack and we're just using the beams that go across, I'm just going to hook up the beam. So this is what I was talking about when I said I was just mounting the beams onto it. One little caveat to this rack is you have to have at least 25 pounds putting tension on the cables. That way they coil up correctly. So you have to have something on there. I just kind of rigged up a case of water that I think will work in the meantime. Okay, so obviously the whole tent lifting system is a little bit ghetto, it's a little bit jerry-rigged. And we'll probably find a more permanent solution, but for the time being, this is how we're getting it set up so that it can lift the tent off of the trucks. Let me show you. So we have the cable system that comes down, and we do have to have some tension on there. And then on each one of these eye hooks right here, I just put a strap that holds 500 pounds. And so that ratchet strap will just run underneath the tent on each side. We'll wrap that underneath, tighten it up, cinch it up, and then we'll be able to lift it up off of the truck. But let's see how it actually works. So theoretically that works. And this is how it would work if we were to take a truck out and bring them back in. Like I said, we'll probably find a more permanent solution, something that actually secures it on. But for the time being, this works. Just, it's not very secure. So if you're gonna do it this way, be careful. I will link the rack in the video description down below. That way, if you do wanna jerry-rig your own system for your rooftop tents, if you and a roommate or you and a spouse or somebody has the same type of truck and you wanna share a tent, It's in the video description down below. Thanks a ton for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll see you around.